Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me here today for another tutorial. I am joined by my good friend, Dwayne Morris. As you can hear in the intro, he did a beautiful arrangement of the song Africa. And I wanted to bring him onto the channel to talk about technique. A lot of self-taught musicians overlook technique. Technique is not an important thing for them. And we want to talk to you guys today about how technique has helped our musicality and help our expressions over the years as pianists. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Morris.
Hey, man, what's up?
Glad to have you on the channel, man.
Yeah, man, thank you, and it's a pleasure. It's a
collaboration.
pleasure.
Probably most of you guys have seen it. Collaboration of the Stevie Wonder song Sir Duke.
Sir Duke.
That was his idea, you know, his sort of arrangement, and I just sort of pieced my little thing into it.
It was fun, man.
Was fun.
Yep.
I have known Duane since 2004. What year did you start at Edna Manley?
I started 03, 1 year before you.
03. So Edna Manley College is where we started. Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts in Kingston, Jamaica. You know, that's where we started to learn about music. You're from the country also, yeah?
Yep. I think we're from the same place.
You St. Thomas?
No, St. Thomas I come from. Why I thought you came from Negril?
No.
I thought you're from Negril, you know.
No, man. Yeah, east.
Okay, I'm from Negril, actually. Negril side, Westmoreland.
Westmoreland, yeah. Yes. I've never been to Westmoreland.
What?
Never been, but it's on the bucket list.
Yeah, man, you should. You should go to Negril. We have the best beaches down there.
Stretch out, find some beach, drink some jelly and things.
Whoa.
So you started, by the way, what made you decide to go to Edna Manley to study music?
I had a friend who, we used to go to a community music school in Westmoreland, and I had a friend who, he went there. And he used to come back and just show off. And I'm like, okay, I want to do that. And anywhere he learned it, I need to go there to do it.
So you decided to go study music?
Exactly. Because I wanted to do I just wanted to play like that.
How long you started piano? What age?
Whoa. I started when I was about 12. Actually, I started piano up as punishment, actually, because I used to hide from music class and they'd throw me in an after school program because I was hiding from music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So before that, I was introduced to the keyboard in church, but it wasn't anything. I mean, it was just there. But in school is where I actually really got started.
So when did you decide to take music serious, where it was no longer a punishment for you, but a source of entertainment? And
I think after the first year with my music teacher, I sucked. I literally just learned everything that he knew in a year. Wow. And I was like, whoa, I actually have a knack for this thing. And I joined a small band in my community, and it just blossomed from there.
Was it like a reggae band or a ska band?
Yeah, it was a reggae band, and you go on stage and people scream, and I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that, yeah.
And then say around after high school, like age 19, 20?
After, age 19, 20. I think it was 20, yes. At 20 years old, that's when I started Edna Manley.
And that's 2003.
2003, yeah.
So when I started Edna Manley in 2004, this guy was one of the guys I looked up to a lot. I mean, I remember watching from the practice room, see him practicing his scales. I don't know, fast. How was he able to do that? So, and you also studied classical piano performance.
Yes, that was what I studied at Edna Manley, actually, classical piano.
So why didn't you study jazz like the other guys? It was like everybody else wanted to do jazz. Why didn't you study jazz?
To be honest, I wanted to do the diploma program, and the diploma program came with jazz. Came with classical music.
Okay.
So for the jazz program, it was a certificate. And my mother never wanted me to do a certificate. So
Okay.
I ended up by default playing classical music, actually.
Yeah. So looking back now, do you regret doing going that route?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I think the only little struggle I've had is trying to swing because you practice so rigid with a metronome for so many years. So swinging, it's still an issue, but I'm a little better than before, you know. But practicing with a metronome on the beat for so many years.
What is it that you learned from classical why you don't regret taking that route?
First, I learned discipline. I think that's one of the discipline. I learned that my skills are important. I learned that my technique is important. Mm-hmm. I learned that the piano is not an accompanying instrument, but a lead instrument. And I think that's one of the main things I learned from classical music. You don't have a singer playing for where you just play chords. You are the singer, the accompanist, and the bass player. You're everybody.
The piano is a full orchestra.
That's it. There you go. You're a full orchestra, and that's one of the main things I really appreciate about classical music. I don't see the instrument as just one instrument in a full band. It's the total band. Yeah.
So let's jump ahead now. You did 4 years at Edna Manley, or was it 4 years?
It was 3. I did 3 actually.
3. You didn't do PQ?
No, I didn't.
Oh, how you skip PQ?
I just fast tracked and did the grade 5 like the summer before coming there.
So for those of you wondering what PQ is, it's preliminary qualifying. Basically, most Jamaican students go to a year before year 1, where you basically learn all the necessity of music. You learn ear training, you learn how to read music, music theory, you learn some technique to get you up to speed so you can go into year 1. I had to go to PQ because I didn't know anything. You show me a score, I couldn't show you where middle C is. I didn't tell you, I don't know what a bass clef from a treble clef. I didn't know anything, so I had to go to PQ. So I ended up doing 4 years, even though it was a 3-year program. Because when we include that PQ year. Mm-hmm.
The guy who I told you about, he kind of helped me along because he knew I wanted to go.
Okay.
So when he was coming back, he would give me some material. So the year that I knew I was going to go to Edna Manley, I rushed and I just did. I studied, man, 24 hours a day.
That's good.
To get the grade 5, and I got the grade 5 just before. I got him, the same guy, to write a letter to Mr. Williams. I think it must be Mr. Hewitt at the time, to say, listen, I can do the grade 5. And they just let me skip the year.
So this guy, do I know him?
Maybe not. His name is Winston Bryan. You may not know him. No. He left way before.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So after you graduated, I remember you were teaching in, was it a high school?
Yeah, in a high school.
How long you did that for?
I did it for, I think, 1.5 years or 2 years, and then I resigned.
Why?
It was a culture shock. It was just a different world, man.
Teaching high school kids can be tough.
Yeah, it was very tough. I mean, I enjoyed the after school program, but the general population, I didn't like that.
So what you did after that?
I went on the road to tour because I was always performing with bands, but I got a gig with Beanie Man, and I just
Beanie Man.
Yes, Beanie Man.
Dancehall artist.
Yes, right?
So you toured with him only, or you toured with multiple other artists?
I've toured with a lot of other people, but Beanie Man was my major gig. Like everything came after. You know,
So the classical man now gone dancehall.
It never made sense, but it never.
You gotta do what you gotta do to make some money, right?
I think a part of it, honestly, was that in the classical world, if you're not, you know what I mean? Like, beyond top notch, you're not gonna make any money. Yeah. So for me, it was more my foundation, my technique, learning the instrument. But eventually, all of us, most of us will, because if you didn't start from year 3 to make it as a classical musician, it's gonna be.
It's a rigorous gig. It's like training for the Olympics.
There you go.
All the time, constantly. Yeah. So even though I did the classical thing, I knew that sooner or later I was going to completely make a shift. But
there you go.
I stuck with the classical thing for 2 reasons. The technique, 3, the technique, the discipline, and learning how to read. I really wanted to get those 3 skills under my belt. So I stuck with it. Now let's take a shift and talk about technique.
Yeah.
A lot of the viewers here watching the channel, they are self-taught musicians. Most of them have been doing this on their own for years. They don't know much about technique beyond just the regular, you should learn your major scales. So what are some of the things that you have done over the years, apart from playing classical pieces, that has helped your technique?
Okay, a few things. My hands, the first thing when I go on the piano, I try to relax. That's the first thing. So I do a lot of shoulder rotation. I stretch my fingers and I start off playing slow. Whatever I'm doing, I start off playing slow, keeping my hands relaxed, keeping my fingers curved, playing on the tip of my fingers, keeping them relaxed, and just try and flow over the instrument. So that's my approach, especially when I just start playing. I play slow, try and play relaxed, try and play with the tip of my fingers, and explore the entire instrument slowly, right? And I try to keep what I call my center of gravity. That is something that is very important to me whenever I'm playing. So when I move into my left, my whole body move, or to the right. I mean, for musicians who play pop music or gospel, sometimes they think those things are not important. But the better your technique is, the easier most things are.
All those fast licks and lines and turns gets easier.
Yes, it's way easier. You're less tense, you feel less pain, and you develop much faster. I've always asked people how to get fast and get clean, and they always answer me this way: play slow. It sounds counterproductive, but everything I do, I play slow first for a while before I even add speed to it, right? Stay relaxed. Yeah.
What you're trying to do is train your body how to play the same thing multiple times without making a mistake.
There you go.
And also doing it calmly.
There you go. If you keep practicing something and you keep on messing up at the same place and doing it over and over, you're actually training your body to make the mistake. Slow it way down and try and do it correctly.
So how often do you practice scales when you were in your learning years? Like those 4 years of Edna Manley, 3 years. How often do you practice scales?
I would even say then, always. I
every
spend
day.
At least half an hour every day practicing scales.
So did you just do up and down, and you do them different ways?
No. Well, I have my days when I'm just lazy and just want to get it over and done with. But whenever I'm focused practicing, I practice in fourths. So I'll do my major scale, maybe 2 octaves or 3 octaves, C major, and then I go to F. Then I go to B flat, E flat.
Oh, so just going through the cycle of fourths.
Going through the cycle of fourths without stopping, without making a mistake. Because even though I'm playing scales, I want my mind to be working, right?
Do you do that with metronome?
Always. The first thing I do when I walk in the room is turn on my metronome. Always. So I do that, and then I would practice maybe in thirds or in sixths. And then I would probably maybe practice in octaves or in chromatic scales. But I always ensure I mix up my scales. I always ensure that I keep my mind ticking and I'm thinking about what I'm doing. So it's not just you just going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I practice. And I dedicate half an hour daily to scales, just scales.
What about other technique building exercises like blocked chords, broken chords, arpeggios? Do you do that stuff?
Definitely. I practice arpeggios a lot. I try to make them different. So like for me, sometimes I practice my arpeggios using whole tone scales.
Ooh.
Yes. And I go in contrary motion. So
you just build like a major chord on
major chord on each. There you go, major chord on each degree, and I go in contrary motion. Or I can go where we go parallel, where both hands are going in the same direction. But whatever I'm practice, as I practice arpeggios, whatever chords, like so a diminished chord, I use that as an arpeggio too. Dominant 7 chord, minor 7 chords. I use all my chords as arpeggios, or I can just hold them as block chords and play them through. So those are some things that I just do to keep my mind sharp, keep my fingers sharp.
One of the questions that a lot of people ask me sometimes here on the channel is about Hannon. Did you ever use Hannon?
Oh, yes, I still do.
You still use Hannon?
Oh, yes, I still do.
You know, back then, I probably got to the first 20 exercises of Hannon, and then I stopped.
Really? I
get bored, man. It's too monotonous. I found it too monotonous, and I just couldn't bother with it.
What I do is I probably go to the back of the book, and I just randomly open pages, and I don't play in C.
Oh, you transpose them to other key?
Always, because all the exercises are in C, and if you practice in C, no. So whatever exercises in the book, I do them sometimes is in fourths again, or in fifths. Any exercise that becomes boring to me, I find a way to stress myself out with it. Any exercise that is boring to me, I find a way to make it interesting and stress myself out, always.
Yeah. So, that's one of the beauty about technique building. You don't have to keep doing the same things the same way. You can twist it and turn it and change it to keep things fresh.
There's even if you're doing the same thing, the same notes, you can change your rhythm. You can change the articulation. There's two notes. There is so much things you can do with just 2 notes. So you can always find new ways. Change your rhythm, change your articulation, play detached, play smooth, do different things with it to keep interest.
Another one of the most asked questions I receive through emails and comments on the website, especially mostly common among beginners and intermediates, is the notion of independence. They say, how do I separate my hands? How do I play something with this hand and another something with this hand? How do I play with independence? Mm-hmm. What would you say to someone who wants to develop independence? How do you develop independence?
I think how I do it is I practice. Whatever I have to do with my right hand, I play it with the right without the left. Mm-hmm. And then I do the left without the right. I even do that with my scales. Because you find that sometimes you do things with both hands, but then you do use one hand to do it and like, there's some weakness or something here. So I try to do separate hands first, and then I try and put them together. Anything that I'm doing, right? Start off very basic with with anything you're doing. Your growth in piano for me is like, all right, I'm struggling with this, I'm slowly doing it. And next week I'm doing it. I'm like, when did this happen? I find that is how it works for me personally, where I just practice my things slowly, practice them separate hands. And honestly, one day it's just going to happen. And you're like, when did this happen?
So the 2 important tips to take away from that is, 1, you're not going to just wake up and do it overnight. You have to deliberately put an effort into practicing whatever the issues is. And the second one is that before you can do any complicated thing as a hands together, you first have to split it apart and work on each hands separately. Because I always tell people that if you're struggling with independence, it is a technique-related issue. So you need to be giving some quality time each day to technique building exercises. Once you get comfortable playing each scale's hand separately, then you need to start putting them together. And as what Duane mentioned, by doing eventually your scales in parallel and contrary, 6/3, octaves, all of those different exercises will start to develop independence. That's how it works. That's how we both did it. And countless other pianists have done it. It's not something that you're just going to wake up, or it's a quick fix where you just say, do this, and you gain independence.
Definitely.
Very cool, very cool,
Great
very
advice.
cool.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next important thing is speed. Everybody wants to be Chopin, or Chicory, or Corey Henry, or what's his name? Johann Kim, or Jesus.
Oh, wow.
All those guys that can just rip and burn.
Wow.
I have a little bit of speed, not much. But how is speed developed?
Playing slow.
Playing slow.
There you go.
I always equate it to those old school kung fu movies.
Yeah.
When you see the masters practicing and they're moving slow each day.
That's it.
And then when time comes for them to fight,
they go in lightning speed. There you go.
So the scale is the same thing.
Same thing. It's the same. Listen, with whatever you're doing is you're training your body, muscle memory. You play the piano by muscle memory. Mm-hmm. That's basically it. So you will see somebody like they're thinking. Yeah, I'm not saying your mind is not working, but it's stuff that your body is used to, right? Because you do it so much, and that is why you practice, because you're training your body to do something. And you don't have to, the training doesn't have to be fast. Slow it down, take your body through the motion, be relaxed, do it consistently. And when you need to be the fast fighter, it's gonna happen because your body is so used to the process.
Yeah, it's very important. Very important. That's how speed develops. You're not just gonna go, I want to go fast, play a scale, when you've never practiced a scale in your life. Just
right?
Work that way. These are some good tips. So is there anything else you would like to add as it relates to technique building for these musicians?
I mean, outside of with real technique, as I said before, practice slow. Don't ignore your scales and your chords. Because those are the building blocks to your music. Learn to read. It really helps. There are some treasures hidden in books. Learn to read and enjoy the music. Mm-hmm. Play with records. Don't just copy stuff that you don't understand, because I find that we do that a lot. Where you just learn a chord but you don't understand what is going on.
The usage, the theory.
I equate that to us learning the alphabet, and we learn a million words. If you just try to learn the words, you're going to spend every day just learning new words every day. But you learn your alphabet and you see a word and you can make sense of it because you learn the fundamentals. So don't ever ignore the fundamentals, because you learn the fundamentals and you just open a world of everything, really. Very
good, very good. Very important stuff there, guys. And just to recap again, everything about technique. Number one, technique has to become a part of your daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly journey. It's not something that comes over time. Something you have to work on little by little by little. Just like how you want to lose some fat or you want to gain some muscle, it's something that you have to work on over time. So you have to make technique a deliberate part of your practice session. Step number two, technique. The road to technique efficiency is not about speed. You don't sit and practice fast because you want to go fast. You have to master everything slowly first before you can get fast. And then third, you got to have fun and create different ways to keep things interesting, because the technique journey can be a little bit monotonous, doing the same things. And so you have to spice it up, keep yourself entertained. There are a lot of different ways to practice scales, a lot of different ways to practice arpeggios. So be creative.
I had a new piano teacher just last semester because I'm still in school, by the way. I'm still studying. Like for his C major scale, so he will play from C to C and then go from E to E, then G to G. So whatever chord he's going through, he would play from the first, the third, the fifth, and then maybe the major seventh, then the ninth, then the 13th of that one chord. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's just one, that's just C alone. So you have a ton load of stuff that you can practice just on that one chord, that one scale.
Interesting way. A lot of ways to be creative and interesting. Definitely. So I currently live, most of you guys know already, in Portland, Maine. Dwayne Morris no longer lives in Jamaica, correct?
No. I mean, I live in New York.
Oh, is it Brooklyn or Bronx?
Brooklyn, man.
Brooklyn.
Yes, man.
Brooklyn. And he's working. And he's working on a master's degree?
Yes, I'm doing my master's currently.
In education or performance?
In music education.
Yeah, so we're both educators, so that's why I wanted to bring Duane on to share some tips for you so you can understand that even though, there are different musicians in different fields doing different things, we all basically come up the same way. We all practice the same things. A lot of you guys idolize guys like Corey Henry and a lot of other guys on that caliber, but we all practice the same thing. It's the same path that they walked to get to where they are. There is not an easy road. There is no silver bullet that fix all your problems. Each thing has to be tackled differently. Your chords, your scales, your repertoire, your technique, your ear training, all of these pockets of things you have to focus on individually so you can become a wholesome musician. All right? So I want to thank Duane for coming on and sharing a little tip with you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the rendition of Africa that he did. He also has a YouTube channel where he just posts videos of his arrangements of these songs. So head over there, check it out, give him a subscribe. Your channel is just Dwayne Morris, right?
Dwayne Morris Piano.
Dwayne Morris Piano. Yeah. Go check him out, subscribe, see how he takes these popular tunes and arrange them for piano. He has bass chords, melody, and some improv stuff going. It's a very good place to go and just see how compositions are put together so that you're not just left playing chords only, because the piano can do a lot more than just chordal accompaniment. It's a whole beast on its own. So check it out. All right?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So thanks again, and I'll catch you guys soon. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you're new to this channel. I try to bring you guys everything piano related, and we'll continue to bring guests as I find them pop up from time to time. All right? So bye for now, and see you next week.